Welcome to The Debrief, where we talk with the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering this week and where the story's going next. I'm Sarah Westwood, and I'm here with magazine editor David Mark. And David, one sort of sideshow of the State of the Union address that we saw this week was sort of dust-up between Senator Mitt Romney and Republican Congressman George Santos. Tell us what happened.
Right. This, of course, was not supposed to be the focus of the speech where President Joe Biden was laying out his plans for the country and Republicans were reacting to it. But on the House floor, Senator Mitt Romney, Republican of Utah, went up and, it seems without provocation, confronted freshman Congressman George Santos, Republican from New York, Long Island, who, of course, has had some, shall we say, exaggerations about his background and his biography. He's now under investigation, we think, at least reporting says, from several law enforcement agencies and the House Ethics Committee. Romney, apparently, according to lip reading, basically said, "You shouldn't be here." And Romney styles himself kind of a moral guy, upstanding, kind of a conscience of the Senate. I don't think George Santos really cared. He hit back at Romney on email, on Twitter and social media a bunch, but pretty ugly scene.
You know, it was interesting. I heard at least one Republican Congressman, Thomas Massey, sort of defend George Santos. I mean, does Santos put the rest of his conference in an awkward position by just continuing to be around?
Of course he does, but he's not going to go anywhere. And House Republicans need him at such a narrow margin in the House. 222 Republicans to 213 Democrats. Republicans on any given vote can only lose a small group of their own members, which tends to happen for whoever is in the majority. So they kind of need him. They got him to step down from his committee assignments, which is the most that they could do. Where I think maybe Massey, some of the other lawmakers have some reasonable arguments is about due process. When there's talk of expelling George Santos, like clearly he's told a lot of untruths, but everybody deserves to go through the process of having the charges laid out against them and whatnot.
The debt ceiling negotiations are ongoing. There's still, some months before it becomes a dire situation. But give us the lay of the land of how that's going right now.
Right. At this point, it is both sides are moving closer to that cliff. Democrats, led by President Joe Biden, and Senate Democrats say, we are not negotiating over this. There's going to be no spending cuts. Just raise it cleanly, as was done under President Donald Trump. House Republicans say, we demand some changes in some institution of fiscal responsibility, cutting spending. So far, nobody's giving. I think we're going to have to get right up to that deadline, that literal cliff, in probably June or so, when it looks like markets are going to crash. Maybe have to go over a little bit, if that's possible, until something gets done. Looking back at some of these other crises, like the bank bailouts in 2008, it actually took a couple of stock market crashes to force lawmakers into action.
Well, David, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
You can get more reporting from David and the rest of the political team at washingtonexaminer.com.